Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SIG Network Policy API subgroup meeting. Today is the 9th of September, 2025. Let's all follow the CNCF Code of Conduct and be kind and nice to each other. If anybody has topics that they want to bring up in the meeting, please add it to the agenda. And we can get started. Looks like there's not that many topics. Okay, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the beta dashboard review. I think this came up in the previous meeting, and we decided that we will take a look at the dashboard in the next meeting, which is today. So let's see if I'm sharing the right window. Yeah, I am. I have gone through one of the action items that I had was to go through the backlog and to reopen some of the conformance test gaps that we had in the past, but some of these issues got closed because of life cycle rotten case and we didn't have assignees, but I've reopened them. It does not mean we need to fix every single issue. We could determine what blocks this for beta and what doesn't. I added these issues based on my own, let's say, opinion on, yeah, I think we need to test it thing, but we can do that cleanup now. So we can kind of, I'll try to go through some of that, but let's start with the in progress PRs. I think the first one's on me. I think what we wanted to do here for let me open this issue. For API graduation criteria alpha to beta, Nadia, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the consensus was for us to write it down in some documentation and include what it means for us to get the API to beta if we need to do any scale testing or if we need to check some boxes from the original enhancement. I still haven't done that, but I'll take an action item for myself.
Yeah, I think that was the plan.
Yeah. I'll try to put a PR in our website docs somewhere. So sorry about that. I forgot about it. Okay, that's in progress PR. In progress NPEP issues is, so let's talk about the next one, which is on Nadia, which is combining the ANP and BANP into one CRD. I think the main code got merged.
Yes, that's also actually a part of my point. So maybe, I don't know, do we want to discuss it right now or dive a bit deeper later?
Okay, we can also do that now because I think it's the most important thing for beta. So I don't mind spending a few minutes on this one. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the main changes emerged, which is super awesome. Antonio also has already implemented this new cluster network policy and it works. Which is also awesome. So there is now this next pull request that I have linked here, which updates our conformance testing, and at the same time, it bumps the Kube network policy version to the latest one to actually run this new conformance testing with the working implementation. And it all looks green and well. So it is, like, as you can see, quite a lot of change, and then I had to replace admin network policy with cluster network policy too many times. So at this point, I don't know if there could pretty much be something crazy happening there. So I would appreciate maybe a couple of reviews on that to see if it makes sense. It also changes our conformance test profiles. So first of all, we agreed to remove ANP and BNP from our standard channels, which is also what's happening here in the second commit. As you can see, I couldn't remove it in the previous PR because our conformance tests were running based on it. So now when I'm updating fully to CNP, I can remove this from this standard channels, hopefully not breaking anyone. And everyone's using the versioned CRDs, not just the main branch. And so based on that, I also just replaced existing conformance tests with the cluster network policy, which also means that we used to have kind of two profiles for ad network policy and baseline admin network policy. I'm not sure if anyone has tried to support only one of them, but with this change, it's not possible anymore because it's just one profile, cluster network policy. I don't think it makes sense to split it into two parts. But again, let me know if you'd want it to be that way. So yeah, these are main changes, basically, as you can see here. And again, it's just like a lot of rename. Yeah, hopefully I try to be as accurate as a human can be. And then, yeah, first of all, I don't know if there are any questions or comments, or maybe some volunteers that will tell me, yeah, I'll review your PR.
To your question on should we have two different profiles or just one, I think that one makes sense because before we used to have two different resources and now it's just one resource with a difference in tier. So I think +1 for me. So whenever we add new resources, we can have another profile.
Same there. Sounds good.
Okay, any volunteers for
The second
+1
question.
reviews? That's the main thing. It's the good news is I think it's removing a lot and adding very less from what I can see from the line change. It's removing 4,445 lines and only adding 600 lines. Okay, Boe, thank you for signing up for review. That's okay, Boe. So I'm gonna do a / assign on Boe, and I don't know if I'm an approver, but I can also try to take a look. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, also maybe just, in general, not necessarily reviewing every single line, but just, yeah, basically make sure what I just said makes sense, and that's what this PR is doing. Yeah, and see if there are any crazy changes happening that don't make sense. So yeah, you don't necessarily need to review like every single line.
Yeah, I think that part I can definitely do. I can't promise every single line, but I think Boe has volunteered for that. But I can definitely take a look at the high level approach and see if things make sense. Thanks, Nadia. And okay.
Yeah, thank you. And there is one more yeah, basically then the question is, so that's an obvious next step that still need to be merged and reviewed. And then there is only one follow-up that I have here. I've opened an issue for it, which is to make docs update as we discussed last time. I think it is somewhat parallelizable. So in small pieces, I've tried to look at our web page and see which sections could be reviewed in parallel and which ones depend on each other. So I've listed them there, which means if anyone is willing to help with that, you can just pick one of those two parts and put your name in there maybe. Yeah, and basically just start doing that. It's shouldn't be difficult, but there is a lot to update, including lots of pictures that we have on our web page that include the API names. So they will need to be regenerated somehow, I'm afraid. And one thing I just assigned to myself is to change the common pieces of introduction, trying to explain how we ended up with this new API version, what happens with the old API. So all these little things that are kind of common, I will try to do myself. Yeah, so that's the sub issue of that bigger issue. And basically, again, it's not super urgent, but if you're willing to help, please just assign yourself and just do the change, and I will review maybe. And the question is if there is anything else I'm missing that we wanted to do for the CNP.
Do you mean that there are other sub issues, or do you mean to create a sub issue
No,
and
yeah.
assign
So
these two to two different people? And this is assigned to you, or no?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I was a bit too lazy to create a single sub issue for every part of it. So I just created an issue for the docs, and then I figured, okay, we'll just assign it in the comments or something. You can, maybe I can make a checkbox or something of it. Yeah, anyway, you can just comment and say, okay, I'm doing this part, and just copy the description, and yeah.
Oh, okay. Should be easy. Does anyone want to volunteer to do the big bits?
I'm to try to pick up some of the stuff. So just assign it to me.
But you're also doing, you have also some other issues, right? Assign Bowie. Just
yeah,
trying to make sure you're not overloaded with that. Okay.
I'm on PTO for 2 weeks after this week. I feel like picking up some docs after that might be doable, but I wonder if we should focus on there's a few kind of API changes that we talked about and that are in issues or PRs. Should we focus on those first before we all kind of parallelize doing the docs? Because if we document the API as it is exactly right now and retake the screenshots, it'll be wrong because we know there's a few things we want to clean up, right?
I don't think it. I do agree, although I think there's just some like generic level cleanup probably needed. For the
Yeah,
docs, so
absolutely.
we
Yeah,
could
there's
just do
it can be
them.
parallelized, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only missing parts, I mean, the accept rename is a big one, but it probably will be easy to just replace it everywhere, hopefully. And then for the next one that should be coming up is that ports format change, which is also, I mean, kind of its own thing. So probably it's okay to
quick
just do as it is right
question.
now.
Yeah, is this the 2 points that you had for overview, user stories, guides, reference, example? That is one task, and overview resources is
Yeah.
another one. It's 2 pages on the website, I assume.
Yeah, there are. So the first one is what, 3? I don't know. Yeah, I can't count from here. Yeah, basically, if you open our webpage, I think it should be easy to navigate with this like section, subsection kind of thing, and then you'll see that just like the user stories and then some examples, they overlap and talking about similar things. And then, yeah, we can also like
so-
if it doesn't make sense, let's also sync in Slack. Just ping me. We'll clarify that.
Okay, I heard Sean and Boe volunteer, so there's 2 subtasks, and I have assigned it to each of you. And if there is clarification required for we should not step on each other, then like Nadia mentioned, a Slack thread for the docs is better. But right now it's 2 sub issues
I'm going to
and
be on PTO for a couple of weeks after this week, so like don't wait for me, but I'm happy to contribute.
yeah.
I mean, I'll just be doing stuff, Sean, and then when you come back, we can coordinate.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay,
Awesome.
that's awesome. Thank
think
you.
that's good.
Right, and then the last question, anything else we are missing for the cluster network policy updates?
So I mentioned on Slack, like, should we do a little calendar check just to see, working backwards, like where we want to be? I know we need a SIG-wide review with, everyone, and we should probably have that sooner than later, because then we can spend a lot of time post-review cleaning everything up to get ready for the
So we
beta.
currently only have our project, which is called the Road to Beta, right? But should we also have another one for V1 Alpha 2 to cut it and see what has to be done before that?
I see V1 Alpha 2 as the road to beta because that's our target. And I don't know if we should have 2 projects for something that's going to last like 3 months. So my general recommendation is that's just like a middle milestone that we
yeah,
do.
But do we need to tag like everything that has to be done before that somehow, right? To see.
Whatever is the cheapest way to do it without
Yeah, okay.
having to deal with like a lot of moving around boards and stuff.
I've I don't mind using the same dashboard, to be honest. I'm creating a cut V1 Alpha 2 release issue to track that, which
Yeah,
will
and then we
show
could
up
use
here.
blockers or something. I don't know how does GitHub do it? Like you must be able to do dependencies.
Yeah, I'm
Milestones.
sure we can.
It's issues have milestones in GitHub that you can define.
Yep.
We might already be using those for something else. I don't know.
No, we've not used milestones here, but we can just create a milestone. But what date are we targeting? Because I have to set a date for the milestone.
So let's work backwards. What KubeCon is in November.
So maybe we should finish going through the issues first and what we want for V1 Alpha 2. So, or at least let's decide what all we don't want to do in this board for that part. So I guess this one is checked, right? Nadia, the combine ANPV we just discussed now.
Yeah,
And
that should go in, right?
Yeah, and then the moving on to Boe's issue with ports. How is this doing?
I think that's solved, no? In Nadia's change? Or is it not?
No, it's a part of more protocol support, I think, or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
So then
Like
I will.
yeah.
Did I pick that one up? Maybe that's assigned to me.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
think so.
Okay, so I will send the change for that. I thought there was a
But
discussion.
I can't. Yeah, was the protocol support tracked as another issue? Yeah, this one. Or no?
Yeah, it is. I don't know if we need to close the 2 nil values. It's not quite solved, but maybe we can say that it's going to be solved as a part of this ports rework. I think that was the plan, at least.
Okay, I think we can leave a comment for that. So The issue for protocols work is 187, and I think this is the one that is assigned to Bove.
Okay, all right. Okay, so it is assigned to me. It was a little confusing because we had like 3 things referencing it.
Okay, and then I will close this saying will be fixed via this one. Okay, so that's out of the roadmap. And this one is in the roadmap. So that should be the next one no, that's not the next one we talk about. The next one's the allow option. We have a PR it should be accept option. This one's on Bove. I think it should be a one-liner change. Am I?
Change and then 4,000 lines of
Yeah.
text changes.
Oh yeah, depends on which one gets in first, Nadia's PR or Bove's one-liner. I was waiting for Nadia's change, the tests change, I guess. Is it just me who can't hear Bove or? But yeah, he's left a message on.
So
the
sorry,
chat.
I accidentally muted myself. Just realized.
Nadia's big change has merged. Do you mean you're waiting for her tests?
Yeah, I was waiting for
change?
her big change, but now I'm gonna
Oh.
do those small changes. Yeah.
But also if we do this change, you also potentially need to go and update the Cube network policy implementation so that it can parse it.
Yeah, I think
That's
I
yeah.
will do that as well.
That's what our conformance is running on. Okay.
Any chance you can tackle these in the next couple of days, Boe? Then I'd be able to review late in the week. Happy to help with reviewing.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get it done this week.
All right, that's good.
John, I'll follow up on
Yes.
Slack if you're gonna be available.
Yeah, Slack is a good way to ping me. I often miss GitHub notifications, just as a million GitHub notifications from being an admin on the Calico project.
Cool. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Bove. Next one is the protocols support again for Bove. I hope you're not overloaded by now, Bove, with docs and this and the other one.
I think it should be fine.
Okay, and this one is also. So this one is not exactly blocking us for alpha, right? This is just.
Yeah, I think
the
it's just, isn't this just like the structure, but then we don't have to add the extra stuff?
Yeah, but it's a big change. So I mean, if we ever add that and we don't have it as a part of V1 Alpha 2, we'll have to cut
thought,
V1 Alpha 3.
Wasn't there an issue, like one of the bug issues where like the protobuf didn't compile and we had to do something about it? Has that already been resolved?
That I think
Nope.
was the nil port value thing, which I closed in favor of this. So maybe all of you are right. Maybe this
I
needs
thought
to
we
be.
decided we were gonna do this in order to fix that. So I thought we did have to do this, otherwise we need to make a different change to solve that nil issue.
Right, but we didn't
Yeah.
have to add the extra protocols. I think we only had to add the existing, which is the TCP
Yeah.
and UDP.
We are actually not adding more protocols, even for
was
this
just
one. We just wanted to change the structure so that it's possible to add them in the future or something. There are notes from our last KubeCon discussion on that.
Yeah, and at the same time solve the other problem. the
Yeah.
bug.
But this is the most urgent one, I would say, because there is we need to properly review that one and see how YAMLs look like, how CRGs look like.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
This one feels like it's on the most critical, on the critical path.
Well, I can't create a milestone.
Also
Like I
affects
wanted to have a way.
implementations because we can't, none of us can ship anything until we've finalized that bit.
Yeah, I wanted to have a way to identify that this is required for V1 Alpha 2, but okay, there's no provision in the project to create milestones, at least I can't. But I've written a comment here saying this is required for V1 Alpha 2. So, okay, going back there, that's the 3 NPEP issues that we are targeting for V1 Alpha 2. Any other things that we are missing on the dashboard? Okay, if not, we go to the to-do. I don't want to go through every single to-do issue. Most of these were reopened by me because of the bot closing it due to frozen stale status. What these issues are the gaps in our current conformance tests. The conformance tests do the basic tests, like, yeah, they're going to validate the CNP's functionality, but they do not validate namespace label changes or pod label changes. So that's why there's two issues for that. They do not validate the same priority disjointness and what our conformance around that should look like. And those are some of the improvements that are here, and none of these are assigned. Feel free to take any of them, and if the description is not clear enough, please reach out on Slack to me. But the question stands if we need to get all the gaps in tests done before we cut the V1 Alpha 2, or can these be a bit more of the V1 Beta 1 journey?
I would say it can be postponed like to Beta 1.
Yeah, I feel the same.
We are not adding like many new fields. We are mostly changing things, so we are not decreasing the coverage really.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, so I think if nobody else has objections on that, I don't think we need to worry about these for now. The cut V1 Alpha 2 obviously is the cut. But before we do the cut, I think we needed to reach out to the API approvers. And who's going to do that? Is it Tim or Jordan or others? Like, did we update that annotation thing? Because I think before we do that annotation update is when we need to get the API review.
We haven't yet, I don't think, right? Because that we do this update after we get the API review and before catching the next version.
Yeah. So what's the value now? Is it the PR where we did the previous API review? I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I think it should be staying the same. Okay, who wants to reach out on, is it SIG Network or SIG API review? Bove, you might know this, or Dan.
Well, I mean, we don't have anything to review right now, right? Like we
Yeah,
need
not
to come
yet.
up with the API first, then we get it reviewed.
Well, we merged the big chunks of the API. Do you mean we should also get everything for the API done and then
Yes.
ask for the review? Oh, okay. Okay, we wait till the, so what are the remaining API changes? It's accept change and then protocols change, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
To be clear, this is for the Alpha 2.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, I created a milestone, which is just called V1 Alpha 2, so you can now sign it.
Oh, that's good. Okay, let's
I
do
mean, I
that.
did put it on some issues, but yeah, just in general.
That's good. I definitely could not find the button. What else did we
Actually, a
say?
question for
These-
Dan is the API review, like who is deputized to sign off on this? Does it have to go through Jordan, or is it someone?
Tim, but yes, it has to go through a official Kubernetes API reviewer.
What happens if those guys are on vacation? No, how many? Let me just.
You wait one more release, obviously.
Well, I'm just curious how big this set is.
It's like 4 people, I think.
Oh my
It's
God.
a
Okay.
known bottleneck.
Okay, I think I got all the issues you want to target for V1 Alpha 2 in the milestone. Okay, does this answer the whole timing issue that Bove you had? And I think Sean, you also had questions in the Slack chat for the meeting. Is there anything else on that topic?
I mean, I would love to plan through to beta, but maybe we can take that up in the next meeting.
Yeah.
We get progress
We need
towards
to.
alpha.
We don't have
We need to
timelines.
finish
for-
V1 Alpha 2. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Like we don't have a strict deadline, right, for V1 Alpha 2. Also, I think it would be nice to have like by the next
We could.
KubeCon because we are presenting this change.
What date do we want to set for all these issues to be done?
I mean, we can set first day of KubeCon, but can we do
No,
it
let's-
by
let's,
that time? Like,
No, 1
I
month
was
from
shooting
now.
for, let's leave like the end of December with most of it resolved is my,
Oh, I was about to cut it before KubeCon. We're not, oh, before we cut the V1 Alpha 2, we
Sorry,
would need the
September,
API
September.
review.
Yeah.
Okay, that's December. No, so now we are on 9th of September, right? Let's just say till the end of this month, we get all the issues closed.
huh.
Then we would need Tim Hawkins or one of those very, very busy API people to review it before we can cut the release. So that I don't know if that can happen within October, but we can roughly aim for end of October for a cut. And KubeCon is the first week of November.
yes, something like that. At least let's
Okay.
like let's pencil that in and see how we can make progress towards it.
Yeah, I'm gonna set it to 2 weeks before KubeCon, and then let's see. We'll come back and revisit the date in the next meeting. Cool. And then if there's nothing else in the topic, I'm gonna move on to Dan's topic.
Yeah, so I just filed this because I thought about it a few weeks ago. We have this thing where network policy has this annoying hole in enforcement to deal with kubelet probes. And we were like, oh yeah, we're not gonna have to deal with this with admin network policy. And we had a whole plan involving a KEP, which is moving very slowly because we can't get any node people to like help us out with it. So yeah, we're probably gonna have to think about what to do here. Sean, you're saying Calico has always allowed host to pod traffic. This is only for cluster network policy, not for plain network policy. Plain network policy is always going to be stuck with the rule that all host network traffic is allowed.
Yeah, I just meant we sort of kept that when we added our own type of policy as well. So yeah, I suppose if you have an explicit deny in a cluster network policy, we could treat that differently. I suppose you're right. It doesn't add much weight. It's always been a little bit of a kind of gap in our policing, I think. But annoyingly, if that gets tightened up there, we'll probably have to add it to our policy as well, and then we'll have to add an option to say and block traffic from.
So, and yeah, one possibility is that we will just decide, okay, fine, we'll make it work like network policy does, because everything else would suck.
Nadia, what's your hand raised?
Yeah, so that was my question. I always thought somehow that we will use this like node selector somehow to explicitly express the network policy kind of behavior until we figure out a better way to make these probes work, and basically just wait till that happens.
That was something that we had talked about before, and then suddenly we realized that all of the existing admin network policy rules don't allow you to block that traffic anyway, so we didn't have to worry about it. And we were thinking that the probes cap would solve the problem for good before we had to come up with anything. But yes, that is another possibility, that we just say, if you want to have a cluster network policy and you want kubelet probes to work, then you need to explicitly add that to the policy.
I tend to not like the implicit thing because it's how do you undo it after we've done it? As in like just allow stuff. Because what would be the step to once kubelet probes have been fixed up to like fix this?
So this is why I liked the idea of saying that the rule is you have to somehow allow kubelet probes to get through, and we don't really specify much other than that, because then once kubelet gets fixed, you don't need to do anything.
Oh, I see.
But I was suggesting that
what
we
if
do
I
like a C group space rule, and then Nadia just added a comment pointing out that that's actually harder than I had been thinking. So it also requires C groups v2 support, which then imposes kernel version restrictions and stuff like that. So
does it? I think it worked with C group V1, but just differently. I'm not sure at this point.
When I've looked at doing those kinds of things, the big problem that you have is just the variability. Like, yeah, some are on C group V1, some are on C group V2, and then which containerizer are people using and how is it configured, and does it allow you to inspect the C groups, and does it create the right kind of C group in V1? And oh yeah, seemed like a bit of a minefield.
Is someone actively working on adding the deny all to ingress currently? Or is it?
no, but I wasn't sure how much we liked that for. Did we say we're definitely not adding anything else for V1 beta 1?
I feel like we said that in KubeCon, but now my memory also doesn't ring a bell. Does anyone else remember?
I think like
I think we
at
froze
least
new features, right?
Philosophically, if an addition could be left out and we could get some beta in, that's what I understood as what we were discussing. In basically, it's like favor progress instead of expansiveness. But that was my takeaway. So of
Yeah, I
course,
mean,
if
my-
we could resolve it, then of course, by all means, like let's resolve it.
My understanding was that just no one actually quite required that. So I mean, it's we know it's potential feature that someone needs, but no one was explicitly pushing it for beta. So I mean,
Okay.
if that changes, we can always say, yeah, we'll try to add that.
I'm looking through the beta discussion items tab of from our discussion from KubeCon, and yeah, about halfway down, there's something pending NPEPs, feature requests, etc. V1 Alpha 2, V1 Beta 1, or none of the above. And none of the above is bolded, meaning that seemed to be the consensus during the meeting. So yeah, it seems like we did kind of agree that we were not going to add any of these other new features until after Beta 1. In which case, okay, we get to ignore the problem for a little bit longer and
But did we have this issue listed? Which one is
yes,
this
that's
issue?
the all selector. 48,
Oh, okay. Mhm.
and southbound traffic, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but okay, for long term, whenever we do fix the all selector, we do have to think about it. So that cannot be fixed without fixing this. So we should at least have depends on
Well,
the issue.
unless we wait until the probes cap is finalized.
Yeah, or that.
What's the TLDR on the probes, Kep? Is that magic probes or that bypass this, or?
Yeah, Surya, I'm very interested in kind of helping push that forward. So anyways, we don't have to discuss it here because it's not kind of germane to this meeting.
Yeah.
The TLDR is that yes, it will be magic, but unfortunately we haven't figured out how to make it magic yet.
That's fine.
We've had a few ideas where I thought we had nailed a little bit of them, but then it's like Dan was mentioning, I actually, the bottleneck is me, need to reach out to the node people and set up a meeting to have a co-ownership from SIG nodes that they have the
Surya,
same
like,
kind of
if I
priority
can-
as SIG network. Oh,
If
sorry.
I can help out there, just let me know because I can go hassle the node team. That's like,
Thank you, Boaz.
folks that
Yeah.
I
Chair
physically
now,
can
maybe
hassle.
do that.
Sorry, I I heard what Bowie said, thanks, but Dan, I did not hear what you said.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was just joking because Bowie is a SIG chair now, so he can just throw his weight around and
Oh, I'm gonna use that weight for sure.
It's not
thank
because
you
of
so
that.
much.
It's because I can go and physically bother people locally within my vicinity.
Oh, do you go to the office?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, I
Yeah, I
can facilitate
will try
something
to.
if you're looking for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pick that back up. I will definitely let you both know. And thank you. Cool. I think that's all we had on the agenda. Anything else that anyone wants to bring up? Oh, KubeCon. Speaking of which, the slides. Does anyone have a deck that they have sort of started? I might be on PTO in October-ish timeframe. I know it's still early, but if there is already a deck that people are
How about-
dumping ideas on, let me know.
Can we wait until V1 Alpha 2 cut? Because then we know for sure what a lot of stuff looks like.
Yeah, I think that is fair enough.
Should we do that? And then we'll put it. Is that too late? I just want to make sure.
I
we
think
have-
so. The V1 Alpha cut date was the end 2 weeks before KubeCon. I think that's a bit too late, and the reason is because we can't. I guess I'm not really confident we can cut it. It totally depends on the API approvers' time and if we end up getting into their review pool on time. But we could have, given most of the changes will merge by the end of this month, we could target the end of this month to get.
Yeah, that's what I was.
started on
Sorry,
it.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
It's just
but
like we
we
should
were-
get all the changes in before we start making the slides for it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Nadia?
Yeah, I'm kind of about to say same thing as Sean. I feel pretty confident that I could complete at least my part about CNP in like a week for sure. So, but it's good to start early, but have the templates been sent already? Because
I think
we probably
the
should.
slide template does exist. I will
Oh.
try to make a set of empty slides and ping people on Slack with it.
I mean, we could just maybe say who is doing like which part or something, and then everyone throws in the slides. But I don't know. Do Surya want to start doing that earlier, maybe for some reason?
No, not at all. Like I think I'm fine with the end of this month or like whenever the changes are kind of finalized is fine. I just wanted to start talking about it. Let's put it that way.
Okay, maybe I'm the laziest. I usually do that last week before it needs to be done.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on long PTO then. I might just drive straight to KubeCon, but it doesn't really matter. Like you said, we can also be in the last minute. Should be. Most of us already know what we're talking about, so it's not a main track talk. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you everyone for joining today. Get your 20 minutes back. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.